Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today on Create with Chris. I am Chris Hoy, and with me today is Lindsay Applegate. She's going to be answering all the questions and comments. Today, we are going to be talking about how to paint wrapped candy. And it may look like it's difficult, but I'm going to show you some tricks and techniques to make it a really easy, fun technique to do. So while we're waiting for everyone to jump on, if you have a minute, just let us know where you're calling from, or not calling from, where you're living. We want to know where everybody's at. And if you have any comments, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. It might take just a minute. I did want to share with you, while we are waiting for everyone to hop on, a new design I just painted. I thought this turned out really cute, and summer is coming up, so hello beach. This is going to be a great project to do. I had so much fun with it. This is the layered door hangers that we carry. I'm telling you guys, these are so much fun to paint. It's really refreshing to not have to trace on a pattern and paint all around all these little pieces. You just paint the pieces individually and kind of stack them on. But what I really like about it is that it can be decorated and ramped up as much as you want. Add all your decorative painting touches, or just leave it plain, and it's going to look good either way. I did do a video on this, so if you wanted to pick up we have a bundle, or you could just get the pattern and paint your own thing. It is available on our website, and I think Lindsay's adding that in right now. Mm-hmm. But if you pick it up, it's going to be posted, I think, in 2 weeks, the video, and then you can paint along with me. So fun piece to do. Summertime's coming up. I'm sure you want to jump on that wave and paint a beach sign.
So we have Sharon joining us from just down the road.
Hey, Sharon, just down the
road. Jen is joining us from the office.
Hi, Jen. Hope you're getting a lot done.
Judy from Middle Tennessee.
Hi, Judy.
Carol from Ontario. And Barbara is here from Las Vegas.
Oh, hi, Barbara. Sunny Las Vegas.
All right. So did you want to go ahead and get started?
We can go ahead and get started. So I just did the series Hocus Pocus, and I did a lot of really fun. I had so much fun with that. Let me go to zoom in just a little bit. Lindsay said I always move the camera, so I'll be real careful.
Good job.
All right. This is one of the pieces from Hocus Pocus, and this is a series. I did the 12 Days of Christmas, and Lindsay said, hey, Chris, why don't you do, I'm going to turn it this way so it doesn't look so freaky. Why don't you do 13 days of Halloween? So that's what I did. And I kind of really stretched my mind to come up with 13 really not only different Halloween things, but I wanted to do different techniques as well. So I had a lot of fun with this. And the more I got into it, I kept thinking of more and more things I could do. But this is Candy Overload. And I think Lindsay's going to put a link. Do we have time to do that little video?
Yeah, I can show the video.
Okay, check that out. Because I just really enjoyed doing this. She's going to pop on a little video that kind of gives a quick run. Okay, so there's a quick run through. I hope you enjoyed that. On the date night, I did a video on that ornament as well, because I thought all the fabric blowing in the wind was kind of a fun technique. and it looks absolutely horrible until all of a sudden it looks really good. So I did do a video on that. Be sure to check that out. And that's on Create with Chris on my YouTube channel. But I did have several people ask about how to do the wrapped candy. Such a fun technique, super simple and easy to do. I'm going to show you a couple different ways that I created this very, very easily. One thing nice about the wrapped candy is that because it's wrapped, you don't have to be too super fussy with the candy itself. This is on a dark surface. This, I believe, is soft black. I wanted to really make it pop so you could see it easily on camera. I am not good at circles, so I use tools whenever I can to create circles. This is the Bubble Buddy from my Painter's Pal series, or Painter's Tools, and I did quite a few of those. This one is the Peppermint Pal and then the Bubble Buddy. I use these every time I paint. I am not good at painting circles, but I want it to look good. So if you have a weakness in your painting area and you're aware of it, there's probably something out there that's going to be available to use to make you look really, really good. Now I wanted to go ahead and do, kind of slippery, this orange and black wrapped candy. So because this is on a dark surface, I base coated it first with Baby Duck, and that's that really cute new color that's available through Deco Art, our favorite paint company. All right, so now that I have my yellow on there, and the reason I do this, I'm using Canyon Orange. Any color, orange and yellow, will work. It doesn't have to be these colors. In fact, I think in the pattern it might be a couple different colors. I'm going to be using my Spectacular stencil brush, and these have the super soft bristles. I can get a really nice, even base coat without having to work too hard. I'm going to load it up pretty good with paint, but I don't want to blob a bunch of paint onto my surface. So I'm just going to wipe it off on a paper towel, just so that I have paint on there. It's evenly dispersed on the bristles, and I can go ahead, position my template, and base coat the orange on. Now, had I not had yellow on there before, I would have to put at least 2, probably 3 coats on there, and my orange would be very, very dull. I wanted to do the Peppermint Pal is excellent for creating candies, but what if you want to do a bigger one? So I use my Bubble Buddy, and this is probably about a 1 inch, I believe, to paint a bigger one, and I'll show you how to do it. And you can go even bigger, but this, I wanted to keep it in camera screen size. And I still have plenty of paint on my brush. Wanted to get an even coverage. Not so worried about getting it solid and heavy and dark. I just want a nice, even coverage. And then for my wrapped candy, I ran out of paint here. I'm using my number 10 Fantastic Fabulous Flat. It is fantastic. And I'm just going to load that up and top coat. Just nice, smooth, even strokes. That way, if you do long, even strokes, you're not going to have to do a bunch of coats on it. I can smooth it out, boom, it's ready to go. Now I wanted to I could do the spirals, but I'm going to stick with this swirl. This thing is really, the tabletop slippery the piece is slippery. I thought we had a little piece of that. We need that non-skid stuff. Okay, I'm just going to put a piece of tape down there, kind of keep this from scooching around on me. I'm going to use this Painter's Pal and anchor it down and take a little bit of, just use soft black. I'm And I'm doing the same thing, loading my stencil brush. I'm just getting that excess off. Make sure this is dry. And I'm just going to line up the edges. This will fit perfectly. It makes a really cute little candy. Works great not only for Halloween candy, but also for Christmas candy. Here's one I did with the Peppermint Pal. I did this one in green with little red stripes. This is a wrap candy I did, but I did the little Christmas tree. And then also, if you want to, I threw this one in here because I did this with an oval shape to make it look like a round candy laying flat. And then there's a bigger, kind of like this one, just a bigger shape. So this technique can be used for any size candy, any season candy. I was trying to think, you could do wrap candy with, maybe this one has polka dots on it. I was going to kind of stick with stripes today. Possibilities are endless. Now I've got this bigger one. I want to put the pinwheel stripes on it, but this is too small. But I can center it pretty much right in the center. Not sure why I put just a little dribble of paint out, but let me get a little more paint. And I'm going to center that and put those stripes on there. Okay, that's the hard part. I'll just take my number 2 Radical Round. If I can find it here.
Left.
All the way?
No, middle, right there. Isn't that it?
No, that is not it.
To the right.
To the right,
There it is.
Okay,
That's
was it hiding behind the number 5? All right, so I'm just getting a little more of that soft black. And since I've already have my main lines on there, I'm just pulling that around. Boom, I have that on there. Just do that again. And I just follow that curve right around. Okay, now remember, this candy is going to be wrapped in a big old wrapper. So if it's not perfect, that's where you put another little cellophane fold. All right. And I don't have to worry too much because I'm kind of cheating. I have a soft black background, so I'm not worried about going into the background. I'm going to straighten that up just a little bit. So that way I have made a little template and I've used that to make a bigger candy. And I'm just going to go ahead and add a few stripes on here. And I usually give a little bit of a curve. I think that looks kind of cute. Try to keep them all the same size, just use the same pressure. Okay, to do the wrapper on the candy, it's really nice. I'm just going to take a minute to kind of clean up this template. I like to keep these rather clean, especially the ones that have small detail, because if I need to position it over, I need to be able to see through it. So if you keep it clean, you exactly know where the edges are. Much, much easier to line it up. Now these templates are made just a smidge bigger than the actual candy. It goes around the candy, so it has to be just a little bit bigger. So I am going to grab a stencil brush, and I'm using Snow White. And this is super easy. Don't make this more difficult than it needs to be. I'm going to wipe that excess paint off. Just going to anchor that down and very, very lightly dry brush that on there. I need something over here. I'm going to get it. I could use a piece of tape, but I'll stick that down there. Just want a smoky look. See how that works? Doesn't have to be, you can see I got over the edge a little bit. Okay, if you're using this, just take a little bit of tape and put it around the side so you don't get that overage where that paint spills over. That works great for that, and we'll dress it up a little bit. But what about this guy? I'm going to take just an angle brush. This is a little bit thin. If this were I would give another coat on that stripe just to make it a little bit stronger. I want to go around the outer edge with a little bit of Snow White. I'm just going to very loose. And I know it looks bright, but it is not. Just want to get that roundy shape. We've got that little bit of a ruffle at the top. I'm using my number 2. Help me out, Lindsay. Quarter inch.
Quarter inch angle.
Awesome angle. Oh my goodness. Boom. Okay. This is just the first coat, so don't stress out about it. We're going to go in and dress it up. Same thing with this. Make sure it's dry. And I kind of do a little bit of an angle on that shoulder. And that cellophane is kind of crinkly in my mind. And if it's too perfect, then it doesn't look realistic enough. Very thin paint, very thin. I'm using the toe of my brush just to kind of pop around that outer edge. All right, so we've got these wrapped. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to start on this one. And I'm going back again with the quarter inch angle. I have my outline there. So I can just go around it and enhance that outer edge just a little bit. Again, this is very loose. We're not fussy with it yet. I'm just strengthening those outer lines a little bit more. You don't want to cover up that cute little candy in there. I kind of got messy here on the edge. Not too worried about it yet. Kind of pull some lines down it. You know how it's kind of crinkled and crunched? We can do a little bit of that. A little bit here. I'm not too worried about it. Just those little ruffles. Pull some of it down. Because this paint is so very thin, it makes it easy to float around. I'm going to try to bump up to a 1/2 inch on this one because I have a bigger area. And with a 1/2 inch brush, I can smooth out that roundy part. So it makes it a little easier for me to kind of float that on as opposed to using a small brush. And I can pull it to the inside. And I'll just do a little bit on the edge here. This is such a light float. It's so much fun to build this up. A little bit of paint makes a big difference. I think I'm going to have t-shirts made. And we'll put a little bit on there. If you get too much on, it starts to get too solid and heavy. I can pull some down. And as these evolve, you'll see where you need the wrinkles or the crinkles in the paper a little bit more. I think this is going to be too big for this. I did not shade and highlight my candy. If I go to a bigger candy, I may do that because, for example, on this one, it's such a big piece of candy that more of the actual candy piece will be visible after the wrapper is put on. So use your judgment on how much shading to do on the candy. But when I first started doing this, I really shaded the candy. It looked so pretty, and then I wrapped it, and you couldn't even tell. So save yourself a little bit of work. Just kind of putting those angles on there. All right, so now we've kind of got a wrapper on there. Just going to go back with my Epic script liner. This is an 18-aught script liner, a little bit longer than a regular liner, shorter than an actual script. It just gives enough length to have good control, but still have the control that is needed. And I'm just going to outline the outer edge of that. And I'll put some little ruffle lines in there. See, I can make that inside little wrap on the ends where they kind of twist and go around. Don't want it too strong. Just want to, and you can see it's kind of uneven and not real crisp. That's where this comes in. My paint is still very loose, very workable. Don't worry about being even and exact. Am I still on camera?
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull some of those out. And I'm going to bring some of these down. If you have any questions, drop them in. Also, if you have any suggestions about future videos, let me know, because someone suggested this and I thought, oh, this would be a fun thing to demonstrate. Okay, so this one is starting to look a little more wrapped. I'm going to do the same thing with the bigger one. What a difference that outline makes. And just wrap that. And I just bring that inside loop down and around. And then I can add that back loop. Add some little gathers in here. Same thing here. If your brush is loaded correctly, you should be able to do quite a few little brush marks, strokes before you have to reload. If you're not getting a lot of stroke work out of your brush, you don't have enough moisture in your brush. Especially if you're living in very arid areas where your dry time is super short. And see, that one's starting to really look glossy. Pay attention to your dry time and adjust your moisture content in your brush accordingly. This one is a little bit messy, so I'm just really gonna see how that all of a sudden it's crisped that up.
Judy wants to know if this is still thinned down paint.
Very thin. I know when I paint it on, it looks very strong as it dries. Pay attention to this long line I just put on this one, and as it dries, actually we can turn it down here a little bit. I'll dry it real quick. You can see how that tones down substantially. And we'll add some more on here. Okay, so we pretty much have the wrapper on there. And I think right here at the shoulders, it's pretty crinkled up. So I'm just going to add some extra detail right there where that kind of gathers very strongly, because that's a really twisty part. A little bit of paint makes a big difference. Layers of paint, light paint, oh my goodness, it's huge. All right, so I've just kind of fussed a little bit with line work on that. Now I need to go back and add just a wee bit of shading. This is where the magic starts to happen. Oh, I guess it's magical all the way through. But I'm picking up just a hint of soft black. I've got my palette here. My 1/4 inch angle, I'm just thinning it out because I know if I overdo it, it's going to ruin it and I'll have to start over. So back off on the paint. It's so much easier to add 2 coats, 3 coats, whatever, than it is to try to clean that up. And you've all been there, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know there's going to be shading where this gathers. Just going to take the toe of my brush and tuck it in those gathers. And I'm almost doing a zigzag stroke. If you want to go across and then go back and pull it up, that's fine. I just kind of tuck it in and go slow and pull it up. I'm going to put a little bit inside here just to enhance that open area. I'm going to put a little bit here to get that shaded area just a little bit. You don't want to turn that wrapper dark. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put a little bit right here. Just kind of putting the toe of my brush in there and pulling it out, pulling it out. And I'll do the same thing here. Just a hint of paint. It's not going to take much, but watch how it opens this wrapper up. If I slide it right along that top edge of that, wow. I mean, it's just all of a sudden that wrapper has really become defined. Go in here, and I kind of thought that was messy, so I can go in and just clean that up a little bit. As you get bigger, it's much easier to work with these areas. I'll flip this around, oops, and go on this side. Because my candy's bigger, I can pull that shading down just a tad more. A little bit of water on my brush, or a little bit of paint and enough water to float that out. This is a hint of color. And I'm not stopping the shading in the same place. Some of it I'm pulling down further. Some of it I'm keeping tight against the gathered areas. If you get a little bit of irregularity in that, it just looks a little more natural. If it's all the same, it just kind of gets a little bit. See how that really looks good? Once I get the wrapper on and I get it shaded, then I can go back and tweak in these areas. And it's just such a hint of color. But what a difference. Oh my goodness. And see how it's not straight across right here? I like the way that looks, because when the wrapper is twisted, there will be areas where it's not perfectly even. So I can pull that over and down. I never get tired of doing this part. This is like, you know how you impress yourself? You're like, oh, I hope it turns out good. I hope it turns out good. And then you're going, wow, this is great. Okay. In here, I don't have a whole lot of shading or whole lot of white. I think I'll go back and enhance that just a little bit. Just now noticed it. So keep an eye on things. Just that little bit of paint. And because this is longer, I can pull that shading down just a little bit further. Okay. Just going to go back and touch up that teeny little bit right. That's all it needs, just that little bit. What a difference that little bit of paint makes. So these look pretty good, but now that I have that shading on there, a lot of my highlights have been diminished. So I'm going to go back again with my Epic Script Liner and just really think about where the highlights are going to be. Right here on this top edge, maybe a little bit more. Look how that starts to stand out. This is more intentional stroke work. What I've done before was just kind of, just float it on, not really tweaking it too much, but with just a little bit of keeping that wrapper going around kind of the contour of the candy. Be mindful how the strokes are applied.
Judy says, I love the enthusiasm and excitement you still have with painting.
Oh, it's just so much fun.
And Lisa joining us from YouTube is, wow, I can't believe I caught my favorite artist live. Thanks, Chris, for all that you share.
Thank you for joining me. I appreciate everyone that's here with me today. And I love to share what I do. And I do still find it magical and fulfilling, and it's just my happy place.
And we should share that Chris is typically live every other Tuesday at 1, except she'll be live next Tuesday as well because we're letting her go on vacation in a couple weeks. So we have to change the schedule. Her vacation was approved begrudgingly. But so next week at Tuesday at 1, she will be live again as well with another technique video.
They're so good to me letting me go on vacation. I appreciate it. And see how dark it is in there? I can just pull out some really strong highlights. And look how that starts to really stand out.
Heidi Allison just joined us.
Hi, Heidi.
And Debbie just joined us from Ontario.
Hi, Debbie. Thanks for dropping in.
Lisa said, LOL, enjoy your vacation, but we'll miss you.
You know, I'm working on some new designs, so.
She'll have a video. We'll have a recorded video up that week. So she'll be here, just not live.
Actually, we have a cabin on Kentucky Lake that we're going to go down to, and we're taking our jet ski, our grandkids and our kids. So we're going to have a fun time.
I like how you said that, your jet ski, the grandkids, then the kids. That was like the order.
The kids have to come with us. Sorry, Amy. I know she's listening. I have great kids. So, all right. The edge of that's kind of bothering me, so I'm just going to puff it out just a little bit more.
What are you doing next week in the live? Oh, the jar.
Yeah, I'm going to, on the Hocus Pocus, I did some glass jars, and somebody said, that is so cool. How did you do it? And I thought, that would be a fun video too. So
that's what she's doing next week.
Yeah, I love to try to figure out if something looks complicated. I like to figure out an easier way to create it so that it's not stressful. And I think that painting is my happy place. It's a fun thing to do. And if it's something stressful, then there has to be an easier way to achieve it. Right here in the middle of this candy, I'm thinking it looks a little bit too flat and not like there's a wrapper on it. So I'm just going to dry brush, kind of float some more cellophane over that little guy.
Robin has joined us, and she said she's so glad she caught you live.
Hi, Robin. Thank you for joining us.
Heidi says perfect vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in trouble. Jen says we hear you.
Get back to work, Jen.
Lisa said Kentucky Lake. She lives an hour south of Kentucky Lake. It's beautiful. So relax and enjoy.
They were hoping for some sunshine and good weather.
Bonnie's joining us here from Oklahoma City. Loves watching you work.
Hi, Bonnie. I taught in Oklahoma City. Great group of gals there. All right, so these are looking really good. Years past, I would say this is kind of where I would stop at. But, when you paint for a long time, you kind of figure out things that you can do to add that wow factor. And I like to play around. And what I have found out is my wow factor at this moment in time is aqua sky or crystal blue, any of the pale, I shouldn't say any of the pale, but any of the aqua teal colors. I'm telling you what, if you want to add the unexpected, huge difference. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that teal on the toe of my 1/4 inch angle. Going to play around with it. And you tell me what you think. because I'm just going to add a little bit here and there. Does that not look like, oh my gosh, it becomes very, wow. Does it show up, Lindsay? It's just like, oh my goodness.
It's subtle. It's very subtle.
It is a very subtle, that's a good word for it. Okay, where do I put it? Another of my favorite terms at this point in time is here and there. Typically, if I added the aqua blue, it would be in the shaded areas, but we're talking about wrappers here that have a lot of folds and ins and outs. So maybe this is my shaded side, but on the edge, I'm just going to put a little bit there, just because.
It almost makes them look a little iridescent.
I'm telling you, that little bit of paint it's the wow factor. If you're nervous about doing something like this, just put a coat of varnish. And my favorite varnish is, and I never can find it. It's right here. It's the Ultra Matte Varnish, because when you put this on, when it dries, it has the same personality as acrylic paint. So you will not know it's on there. You can dry brush over it. You can do everything over it that you would with paint. So that way you can create kind of a safety net. Oh, look at that. This one's going to be a little easier because it's a touch bigger. Don't overdo this. Too much, a little bit is amazing. Too much is a bad thing, because then you're just going to lose all the impact.
Peggy says, great tip with the blue. She loves it. And Cindy says, my goodness, that brightens the wrapper. She loves it.
You know, what do you do to black and white to jazz it up? You try a little bit of this blue, because I'm telling you what, it is. And what's nice about this blue is it's just subtle enough to add interest without taking away from the whole wrapping and all of that. On this one, it's a little smaller. I'm not going to go as heavy on the blue, just little bits here and there. I have used the blue on so many different things because I wanted to test it and say, wonder what would happen if. So I encourage you, don't be afraid to wonder what would happen if, because if it doesn't work out, it's not a big deal to go back and touch it up. If it does work out, you're going to go, wow, that is so awesome.
Isn't that plaque in front of you, isn't that one of the first ones you used that blue on?
This one?
Yeah.
I think so. Lindsay's I've got a plaque here.
Pretty sure that's one of the first ones you started with that on.
I'll get paint everywhere. This one.
Yeah. On the pumpkin.
Right. All right. So look at this apple. Just a little hint here and there. For one thing, you don't see it when you look at it. You really don't notice it. But on the pumpkin, ooh, I even put it on the leaves. To me, that is the connecting thread that kind of pulls it all together. A little bit in his eyes.
And the outside frame stenciled in it, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I decided to put that tape on there, and now it's driving me crazy. I decided I was trying to figure out what to do with the outside frame, but because that blue is so subtle, it worked out really well. This is a combination of blue and soft black. Just works together perfectly. I even put a little bit in the mouth. I did this. This is my Hocus Pocus. Same thing on that. I was a little bit heavier handed with the blue on the wrappers, and you can see they're mostly in the shaded areas on his, the candy stick he has in his mouth, stuck a little bit in his eyes, a little bit on the stem. But I have found out when you're working against different colored backgrounds that you need to adjust your accent colors accordingly, because this is on black, that blue's really going to pop out a lot more. I don't have to be as heavy-handed. On the orange, just needed to be a little bit stronger. On this one, because I used blue in the background, I had to ramp it up a little bit to get that to really stand out and make that impact. You can see on this wrapper, there's a lot of color in there. It's not just white. And all I did with the swirl, I was trying to be lazy. I was trying to figure out how to get, no, I just kind of did a spiral. But after you wrap a piece of candy up, if it's not perfect, it's really not going to show that much. On the candy dots on here, I just used, I did like a yellow, and then I put an orange, stenciled an orange in the middle of it. I love the polka dots on the candy. I think that's a fun element to add as well.
Peggy has a question. When you shaded with the black, do you use the color of the background that the candy will lay on so it looks transparent?
Actually, because, I don't know if you can notice here, because you do such a light float on the wrapper, whatever's behind it is going to resonate through the wrapper. So I didn't go into shade because of the background color. On this one, I shaded with soft black, and there's no black behind it. Does that answer your question? It's need to keep contrast in mind, because the more paint that is applied, the heavier the wrapper is going to become. And you need to keep that very translucent and very transparent so that the background, you can see the orange kind of glowing through the ends of the wrapper. That just means I didn't put much white on there at all. Okay.
Lisa says she loves your pumpkins. They're fun.
My pumpkins are happy. Thank you.
Rita says hello from Tacoma, Washington, and Diana is joining us from Apple Valley, California.
Wow. Hello, West Coast. We're finally getting summer weather here. We're up in almost in the 80s.
It's 84 right now.
Yeah, nice and toasty.
But we're going to get bad storms tomorrow, so we always pay for it when it gets up hot.
Okay, so I do want to point one thing out. We don't want bad storms. This was a piece that I did before the blue. All right, let me pull all this out here so you can see it. I love this piece, but in my mind now, I'm thinking, ooh, the blue would really ramp that up. So if I were to do this piece again, I'd put a little bit of blue here and in the wrapper, a little bit on the cookie, a tad on the candy cane. So yeah, I hope that using these little tips and techniques to bring into your painting world will make a difference and encourage you to kind of branch out. And even if your pattern doesn't say, put the blue in there, do a little test the water, stick your toe in the water and kind of see what that blue would do. Now, if you're going to use blue here and here and here and here, you're going to have to repeat it up here. So there's a little bit in the eyes, a little bit on the stem. So you kind of need to pull that in. There's a real fine line between making it work just enough and then overdoing it. So I even put a little bit up here on the side edge. You just need to do a little bit, back off and look at it, and then add a little bit more. If you're not sure if it looks right, take a picture with your phone and look at it. I do that very often because when I get frustrated and I think it's not going the way I want it to go, I can take a picture of it with my phone and then I can look at it and say, oh yeah, it just needs this, this, and this. I don't know what makes a difference when you take a picture and look at it, but it really seems to point it out.
Your camera intensifies the phone camera intensifies things.
Okay.
I think that's why, because like case in point, the Northern Lights the other day, couldn't see much with the naked eye, but when you took the picture, it really,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, so,
Well, that makes sense.
yeah,
So take a picture. I've even taken it in my bathroom and
Yeah.
held it up to the mirror. And
yeah.
if you look at it in reverse, your eyes see it differently. So those are little tricks to kind of, if you're nervous about adding the color or adding the something new, to kind of use the safety net of the matte varnish.
Lisa said, that is why I enjoy your videos. You share those tips that we, quote, semi-pro painters
Oh,
wouldn't think about doing, such as adding blue.
yeah. You know, and I was kind of excited because I was watching an oil painter, and he said he adds blue or purple to every painting, regardless. I'm going, really? And he said, I thought, well, if he says so, then that's why I do it. No. But, you know, if you look into other areas of art, if you look really, really hard, you will see blue. You will see purples. You see all those tones, and they're so subtle that your eye's not picking them out. But it really does make a difference.
Jen said, woohoo for the semi-pro painters.
Yes, go semi-pro painters. We're all semi-pro painters in one way or another.
Judy wants to know, when you use the varnish, do you put it over the whole piece? Excuse me, or just the part you're nervous about?
It doesn't matter with the ultra matte varnish. You can do part of it or you can do all of it because it will not leave. You know, sometimes when you put varnish on, I don't know if I can do it real quick, and it leaves a mark. I don't know if this will. I'll do part of it. I did this when it first came out. I did a little template to see if people could tell what was varnished and what wasn't, and most of them could not. I'm going to smooth it out a little bit because I was kind of careless.
And while she's doing this, the ultra matte that she's using is from the Media line, but DecoArt does have an 8-ounce version of the DuraClear ultra matte that is essentially the same stuff. So it is available both ways, either in the 4-ounce or the 8-ounce.
It's still wet. We'll see. Okay, it's really showing up on the black background. I have done partials before, and it doesn't show up. I did some on here in partials, and it did not show up. But I think with the black background, can you see it, Lindsay?
You can. I base coated that thing, so it might be because of how I base coated it too.
It was base coated by semi-pro.
Yeah.
So to be on the safe side, if you're not sure, takes a minute, and that way you don't have to worry about it. I'm surprised there's a line on because I have used it so many times. Okay, but here's the thing too. When you put your final coat on, it will blend in. So there's that little piece of insurance as well when you do the whole thing. But I know soft black really does show those colors.
Mary Jane just joined us.
Hi, Mary Jane. All right. Any other questions?
And this video, just a reminder, this video will be available on both our YouTube channel and Facebook after it's over. So you can always consult it when you're painting anytime.
Okay. Yes. If you have any questions, I did these up last night. This is on a black background. You can see the difference between the two backgrounds. So this one is a much soft.
I'm wondering if that's the chalk paint that I used.
On this? Oh, it could be. Well, let me try this then.
I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering because I don't use soft black.
Okay. This is lamp black. So I'm going to base coat that. This is what I did last night.
Or it could be chalky gesso too.
Okay. It
was a long time ago.
Lindsay's not sure what this is.
It's not soft black, I can tell you that. I don't use soft black.
Okay.
There you go. See, that one's blending in better. Yeah,
All right.
see, you can't even see
Okay.
it. There you go.
All right, ladies, I did not want to mislead
It's
you, but
the
this was
semi-pro's
not working
fault.
out. All right. This is not acrylic paint on here. So
No.
this
That's gesso, I think.
this is I know this is lamp black. So yes, when you use this on acrylic paint, it blends in.
So you can't even see it.
I think chalk paint is a little bit chalkier. So it's not as, it doesn't have the same
Yeah, I think it's chalky gesso.
appearance as acrylic paint. So,
Yeah, I think-
okay, well,
I
that
think
would
that's
make a
what that is.
difference. So to answer your question, it does blend in well with the acrylic
Yeah,
paint.
you can't even see it at all compared to the other one.
Okay,
You can't even see
yeah.
it.
This is the other one
Yep.
you can see around. All right, this is the acrylic.
My fault, sorry.
That's okay. Now we know.
Blame the
But-
semi-pro.
If you're nervous, do the whole thing. If it's a small piece, it probably really won't take that much time anyways. So peace of mind is worth that extra effort or that extra step. I found that out as well. So are there any more questions?
Mary Jane says, love those candies, look so real. And she's so thankful she can watch the replays.
Oh, thank you, Mary Jane. Yeah, I got excited because when I first started playing around with the wrappers, some things you just kind of stay away from because it's an ordeal. It's really not. Just a little bit of paint, layers, layer it up, add some strong highlights to make it really pop and stand out. And don't be afraid to experiment with other colors because that always is a fun thing to do. And you might find something really awesome and then you can share it with us. So, if you have any suggestions on future videos, let me know. We're going to be doing glass potion bottles next week. I did the cauldron with the potion bottles in front of it. Potions for all.
Potions for all afflictions.
Potions for all afflictions. We came up with so many different titles, 13.
And then some of them have multiple working titles.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, the semi-pro painters will be back at 1, and Jen is painting the Santa layer tag ornament.
Oh yeah, you
which
don't want
is
to
number
miss
2 in the
that.
series from last week.
Yeah, if you missed the reindeer, make sure that you check that out because she painted a little reindeer tag last week, and it is adorable. So you don't want to miss that. She's doing the Santa this week, and then next week will be the snowman.
Next week, yeah.
Okay.
Lisa said, "Yay, semi-pro painters!"
Yeah, I'm telling you what. Okay, true story. Jen and Lindsay would never, ever, ever paint when I'm around,
Nope, we don't.
but they ask me questions and I tell them. And today I was excited because Lindsay asked me to show her how to shade. So, yay.
I tried it by myself and I hated it, so I had to consult the expert.
And I think it's probably just a simple hold the brush this way.
I think I'm doing it backwards,
Yeah.
I think is what I'm doing.
So we'll get that figured out and then we'll get Lindsay here on camera.
No, but
But they are really doing some nice pieces. So, okay, well, be sure to mark your calendars. Next Tuesday, I'll be doing.
Let me put you back on camera.
Next Tuesday, I'll be doing potions for all afflictions, the potion bottles. Jen, tomorrow, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 1.
Jen is doing the Santa tag. You don't want to miss that. And what's really nice about what Jen and Lindsay are doing, they call themselves semi-pro, but they're adding little touches that are just super cute. And if you want to take it further, you can always add more to it. But after they get them painted, I'm going, wow, that really turned out really nice. So it's a great way if you have a friend that's nervous about painting or afraid to paint, wants to try it out. These are such great projects. And then if you want to help them out and encourage them to do the little bit of shading and adding detail work, that's just the next step. So we want more painters in our wonderful, happy world of painting. And this is just a great way to introduce them to new and fun projects. And they're not intimidating. And, I know some of the stuff we do, people look at and go, oh, I don't think so. But, it took a while to get there. You didn't become a good painter overnight. So, it's the baby steps that get everyone to, and each step along the way is fun. It's just such a great world to be in. Painting, it kind of takes you away. It's relaxing, it's fun, it's enjoyable. And when you do something, you're going, oh, wow, that turned out really cool. That's what it's all about.
The color of the blue was aqua sky.
Aqua sky is kind of my go-to color, but I have used different palettes that's just not the color to go with. So Bahama blue's pretty, crystal blue's pretty. I'm trying to think of the blues in that area. You just need to keep
turquoise.
Whispering turquoise might be a little bit light, depending if you're going with a lighter palette. You need to, lighten up that blue as well. So do a little test on it and see, if that's going to work out. If you're not sure, try a next shade up or down. And I'm a little heavy-handed with my colors and my paint. I tend to go with a darker palette. So definitely with the Halloween and, the deeper, richer colors, the aqua blue just really pops and looks fantastic.
Heidi said she couldn't agree with you more. Painting is the best way to escape.
Oh my goodness, yes. In this crazy world, we need a good escape, don't we? Okay, so make sure if you go to my YouTube channel, give me a thumbs up and hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. That way, if you can't make it to the lives, and I do add a lot of recorded videos online, that way you won't miss out on any of the videos. I think Lindsay's putting the semi-pro painting and stenciling videos on that same channel, so you get the whole ball of wax with that. So be sure to check it out.
And might I add, CD Stencils has its own YouTube channel now too,
Oh,
which is just the stenciling projects.
and that's kind of brand new as far as the stenciling projects on the YouTube channel. So be sure to check out CD Stencils on the YouTube channel as well.
So that's semi-pro stenciling.
I'm telling you what, I don't know about you, but when it comes to painting letters, I'm finding me a stencil because that makes me look good. I'll go with anything that makes me look good. All righty. Anything else, Lindsay?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to our next painting adventure together. And remember, a little bit of paint makes a big difference. Bye-bye.